Salute! I'm going to Romania all alone with almost no money, no film crew, no makeup or friends except for the one I met. Just myself visiting many of its medieval castles, including paying a visit to the home of Dracula, its ancient monasteries, the magnificent mountains, and we'll be the first to enter and capture a 2,000-year-old Roman gold mine, and go even deeper to visit the world's largest underground salt mine paradise. Not to mention getting off the beaten path to check out its beautiful lakes and waterfalls, underground caves, and experiencing the warm hospitality of the Romanian people by getting rescued by the police, as well as enjoy many of its delicious traditional cuisines, as well as getting around the local way. All done safely, inexpensively, and easily. Anything I can do, you can do. DIY Destinations Romania, and you are invited. We are so fortunate to live in a small world with so many cultures, so much beauty, and so much diversity. The world waits for no one, and it's up to each of us to discover its magnificent destinations. I want to make travel accessible to all of us by showing how it can be done safely and inexpensively. Located at the crossroads of Central, Eastern, and Southeastern Europe and borders the Black Sea, the name Romania derives from the Latin meaning the citizen of Rome, and first established as a province of Roman Empire in 106 AD. Today, this country is the home to a diverse population of 20 million, with Bucharest being the capital. In its long history, this land has played an influential role in Europe in the realm of arts, food, sports, and politics, including being the first in the world to establish legal rights of women. That's why I'm here, to experience its culture, to touch its magnificent architectures, to taste its cuisine, to see the challenges facing this developing country in the post-communist era, and most importantly, to feel the warm hospitality of its amazing people.
Put the body of wet.
Let's start my journey with an overnight bus from the capital of Moldova, Chișinău's southern bus station. There's multiple daily buses connecting to Bucharest. The trip takes about 9 hours and costing about $15. You can also travel by train from Istanbul, Vienna, and Sofia to Bucharest North Railway Station. And this station also has a direct connection to the Bucharest International Airport. That's why I've chosen to stay near this station. At my sponsored accommodation at Bliss Bucharest North. With only 2 minutes walk away, it offers extremely comfortable smoking and non-smoking rooms at a great price. On-site parking, high-speed internet, in-house restaurant with great breakfast. The best of all is only 2 kilometers away from the city center by metro right outside the hotel. For only $6, you get a SIM card with 30 GB of data, 1,000 national minutes, and 100 international minutes to call back home. What a bargain. Oh, by the way, the best place to get cash is finding a fee-free ATM, and do not accept the offer of fixed exchange rate. Just go with the float. First mentioned in 1459, Bucharest became the capital and the largest city in Romania in 1862 and is the center of Romanian media, culture, and arts, as well as serving as industrial and the financial center. Today, its metropolitan area is the 6th largest in European Union and the home to a population of 2.5 million. So after settling into my hotel right across from the train station and getting a new SIM card, I think we're ready to start our day. First attraction, we are taking my public transit. As always, my favorite. The unlimited day pass costs only 8 leaves or $2. We'll get off at a station that I can't pronounce, but the name's on your screen. And this is we get right into the center of political power in Romania, the Palace of the Parliament. Centrally located in Bucharest Sector 5, the palace is not only the seat of the Parliament of Romania, but also the 2nd largest administrative building in the world, also the heaviest, and weighs almost as much as me. Just joking. It weighs about 4.1 billion kilograms. The palace was ordered by Nicholas Ceausescu, the dictator of Communist Romania, and designed and supervised by the chief architect Anca Perescu, with a team of approximately 700 architects, and constructed over a period of 17 days. Okay, corrections. I mean 17 years, from 1984 to 1997. However, what's not a joke is how expensive the damn admissions tickets are. So the regular admissions is 35 lees, or about $9 US. Since I'm interested in politics and I only can be here once, let's just pay our dues. There's more. Extra $9 to use a DSLR, so I'm just not willing to pay. As you know, I think it's overcharged and that sucks. So I'm going to use this GoPro, which I think I will get away with. The palace is really big and known for its ornamented interiors composed of 23 sections. It houses 2 houses of Parliament of Romania, the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies, along with 3 museums, including the National Museum of Contemporary Arts, the Museum of Communist Totalitarianism, the Museum of Palace, and the International Conference Center. Even then, the building is still about 70% empty decades later. This building is actually one of the newest parliament buildings in the world. It was completed in 1997, and 90% of the material actually used in construction of this building comes from Romania. Although I cannot afford this luxury palace as my home, in 1990, the Australian business and media magnate Rupert Murdoch wanted to buy it for $1 billion US, but this bid was rejected. As of 2008, the Palace of the Parliament is valued at $3.4 billion, making it the most expensive administrative building in the world. I guess it's time for me to do some crowdfunding. So basically, we have been ushered to conference room to conference room. You get to see lots of chandeliers and things like that, but nothing really that special. If you are a potential buyer, just a reminder, the cost of heating, electricity, and the lighting alone exceeds $6 million per year, as much as the total cost of powering a medium-sized city. This is the end of the tour. We have walked 2 kilometers and walk 200 square. Next, we head over to the opposite side of Dambovita River, the main source of drinking water for the city. Bucharest folklore mentions the water from this river as sweet, and even at the beginning of the 18th century, it was considered light and clean. However, towards the end of the 18th century, as the population of Bucharest increased, the river ceased to be clean, and hence a series of aqueducts was built to support the growth. The majority of the population belonging to the Romanian Orthodox Church, and located near the old town is a site of an old monastery of Stavropoleos that was previously destroyed. This monastery was built in 1724 during the reign of Nicolae Majestic. What's so interesting about this monastery is it used to house a guest house or inn, which made it self-financially sustainable. Unfortunately, during the early 20th century, the whole complex was annexed and was demolished, and the only thing that remained is the original church, which sheltered a library, a conference room, and also artifacts from the demolition. A collection of old icons and holy objects from the early 18th century and part of the wall painting were recovered from the church demolished during the communist regime. This new building was constructed following a plan of architect Ion Mesiu. The monastery's library has over 8,000 books of theology, Byzantine music, arts, and history. Its Byzantine music book collection is largest in Romania and consists mostly of donations of 2 Romanian Byzantologists. Nearby is another important church located beside the old princely court, built as a residence during the rule of Vlad III Dracula in 1459. The objective of the palace is to permanently watch over and to protect the southern boundaries during the time of the conflict with the Turks. the reign of Mircea Ciobanu, the palace was repaired and defined the limit of the city. His palace became the economic nucleus of Bucharest, surrounded by a house of traders and craftsmen known as Lipsani. In 1559, the church was built and named after him, later become the location of his grave. It is nowadays known as Church of Annunciation or St. Anthony's Church, the oldest church in Bucharest which is preserving its original form. The decoration of its facade is made from face break stripes alternating with the plaster stripes. It draws together many people, especially on Tuesday mornings when the church often becomes too narrow to hold all of them. Anthony is a popular benevolent saint who seemingly has never failed to make believers' wish come true. Within the walking distance is the Old Town, located at the center of Bucharest, and is very popular throughout the world for its nightlife. The area is more or less that's all left of pre-World War Bucharest. What the war didn't destroy, the communists did. Now it's being invaded by Americans. Cheap American hot dogs. And more recently, Chinese conquest of Romania with its one walk, one bowl of chow mein at a time. And not to forget, the Vietnamese. They are in the game too. Whoa. But these Chinese food ain't cheap, don't worry. There's always inexpensive traditional pastries you can find on the street. The best of all, most of them cost less than 75 cents. What a bargain. Within a 10 minutes walk, we reach one of the most important landmarks in the Romanian's modern history. Initially named the Palace Square for being the site of the former royal palace. Prior to 1948, a square and statue of King Carol I of Romania stood here. Created in 1930 by the Croatian sculptor Ivan Mesarek. The statue was destroyed in 1948 by the communists and was recreated in 2007. In the August of 1968 and the December 1989, the square was the site of two massive gatherings which represent the turning point of Chișinău's regime. Chișinău's speech of 21st of August 1968 marked the highest point in his popularity, when he openly condemned the invasion of Czechoslovakia and started pursuing the policy of independence from Kremlin. Chișinău's final speech, 1989, was meant to emulate the 1968 assembly and presented by the official media as spontaneous movement of support for Chișinău. Erupted in popular revolt which led to the end of the regime. After the Romanian Revolution in 1989, it was renamed the Revolution Square. Right across is also home to the city's main concert hall. Opened in 1888, the domed circular building is also the site of 1919 conference of leading Romanians who voted to ratify the unification that constituted the Greater Romania. I wanted to make most of my day pass, so I took the metro all the way to Paris to see our last attraction. Okay, just joking. Located in the northern part of Bucharest, in the middle of one of the busiest intersections, is home to the Arc of Triomphe. Well, almost the same. It's a little walk from the metro, so if you're tired, use the bike sharing to get there. It's really cheap. The Arch of Triomphe was actually built in 1878, shortly after Romania gained its independence, as a temporary wooden structure. It stood until 1922 when it was rebuilt once again as a temporary structure. It wasn't until 1935 when it was completely demolished to make room for this permanent structure to commemorate those who fought in the War of Independence and the World War I. The new stone arch was designed by Peles Castle and was inaugurated on 1st of December 1936 with a height of 27 meters. The sculptures in which the facade decorated were created by the famous Romanian sculptors such as Ion Jessica and Dimitri Palascu. Presently, the military parade are held beneath the arch each December 1st on the occasion of Romania's national holiday. And this is the last attraction I'll visit here before saying farewell to the beautiful Bucharest. Next morning, I walk over to Bucharest North Station to pick up a hot chick. Train tickets. We need to get going. So this is my train ticket and we are on board the second class bound for Sinaia. It's going to be about an hour-long journey, so with that being said, let's hope this will be fast and smooth. So here you go, this is Sinaia. So let's find a luggage storage and find our way out. So my luggage is inside the luggage storage. It's safe and secure. And sometimes if there's nobody inside the office, just go to the information desk and they will come and open the office for you. Sinaia is a town and a mountain resort situated in the historical region of Montana. The town was named after Sinaia Monastery of 1695, around which it was built. One of the two main attractions in this town. So half day is pretty much all you need. With that being said, let's put our stuff away so both of us can confess our sin comfortably. Let's go. Actually, let's check out somewhere less somber. And an easy 30 minutes walk will lead you to one of the most iconic neo-Renaissance architecture in Romania, the Peles Castle. It draws its name from the neighboring Pate Creek, which passed through the courtyard, and the castle considered by many as one of the most stunning in Europe. Commissioned by King Carol I in 1873 after first visiting the site in 1866, he fell in love with the magnificent mountain sceneries. In 1872, the crown purchased 5 kilometers of land. The estate was named Loyal Estate of Sinaia. The king commissioned the construction of a loyal hunting preserve and a summer retreat on the property, and foundation was laid for the Pate Castle on 1873 and completed in 1883. The castle served as a summer residence of the royal family until 1947. If you have a student card, bring it with you because you get a big discount. With that being said, I hope I will be wowed by this attraction. You can't really be too nice because people just butt in line. It's not nice. Make sure you stand your ground. Its 160 rooms are adorned with the finest example of European art, Murano crystal chandeliers, German stained glass windows, and Cordoba leather-covered walls. There are also 4,000 European and ornamental pieces dating from the 15th to the 19th centuries, on display in the armories. Now, this is really quite a castle. The furniture in the music room is carved out of teak, a gift to King Carol I from the Maharaja of Kampula in India, while the handmade silk embroideries adorn the ceiling and the walls of the Turkish salon. The ceiling paintings and decorative frescoes in the theater hall was designed by renowned Austrian artists Gasko Klimt and Francisco Mach. So, as you can see, it's actually a really nice castle, and I think it's definitely worth a visit. But for the camera fees, that's something that I have to say, I don't think it's actually worth it. But with that being said, let's head to our next attraction. It's the monastery. The monastery is fairly easy to find and takes about 25 minutes on foot from the castle. The admission is less than $1. What a bargain! The Sinaia Monastery was founded by Prejmer and named after the great St. Catherine's Monastery after his return from pilgrimage to Mount Sinai in Egypt. It was designed to serve as a monastery as well as a fortified stronghold en route from Brasov to Bucharest. The initial plan for the monastery was to host 12 monks, to initiate 12 apostles, but in time the number of monks grew. In the midst of Russo-Russian War of 1735 to 1739, before deserting the monastery, the monks hid a valuable by burying them inside a battle. During the battle, the Turks defeated the troops stationed within the walls of the monastery. The Ottomans burned the area and broke through the wall in 2 places. The monks possessed a library that's a repository for valuable jewels belonging to a Romanian aristocrat Cathedral family, as well as the earliest Romanian translation of Bible dated 1668. The site is also home to the graves of the former Prime Minister of Romania, Nicolae. After praying for my past sins, life goes on. After all, it is short. And so does our next train ride. Less than 10 minutes to our next stop at Bușteni. I hop onto this train and just buy the ticket on board 6 leaves, and it's probably a 10 minutes ride. And so we can see more interesting things. So welcome to Bușteni, and this is where I drop off my bag. It's open until 8. But be here half an hour before just in case. With that being said, let's head out to our first attraction. Bușteni is another small mountain town in Brasov Valley located at the bottom of Bucegi Mountain. With an average altitude of 900 meters, it is one of the most popular mountain resources. The downside, there's no attraction in the town. People usually come to hike the Bucegi Mountain in the summer. The town is pretty expensive. Everything. Absolutely everything, even by American standards. My biggest complaint is the cost of the cable car. There is no way to avoid it in the winter. However, if you do manage to pay yourself to the top, congratulations. There is still a 45 minutes hike away to the top of Caraiman Peak, the site of a hero's monument. It is a huge cross built between 1926 and 1928 in the memory of railroad heroes who died in the duty of World War I, fighting the armies of the Central Power. The construction of the monument began in 1926 and was completed in 1928. Queen Marie closely followed the implementation of her instructions until the completion of the project. The inauguration and the consecration of the monument took place in September 14, 1928 on the Holy Cross Day. Now, if you wonder whether I man up and did the hike, shamefully, no. Here's why. Wow, I did not expect to be back here at the train station so quickly. And so, let me tell you what happened. I went over to the cable car station to see how much it costs to get from bottom up. It costs 35 lees, which is about $10 US each way. And number 3, you cannot track up during the winter time right now because of the snow, and it can be slippery and dangerous. There's another option, which is to hire a guy to go up by a car, but they charge for the entire seat of the car. So I recommend people to not come here in the winter time and come in the summertime. That way you will have a great option of hiking up and enjoying the views. With that being said, let's head to our next destination, and hopefully it'll be more exciting. By the way, if anybody tell you the train is full, don't worry, I got you covered on this hour-long ride. So when I tried to get the tickets for this train, they said it's all sold out, there's no more seat. Another option is you can stand. The good thing is when I come in here, seems like there's lots of seats available. So I'm going to steal one of the seats. If someone asks me to give up my seat, I would just gladly do so. With that being said, let's hope this will be a fast and smooth ride. finally I made it here to Brasov, and I'm going to my hotel first. Brasov is the administrative center of Brasov County with a population of 275,000, making it the 7th most populous city in Romania. It's surrounded by the Southern Carpathians and a part of historical region of Transylvania. Historically, the city has a large commercial hub on the trade route between the east and the west. It is also home to the birthplace of national anthem of Romania. Once again, I'd like to thank my accommodation sponsor Casimir Dow Hostel for providing me with a comfortable stay for filming of Russia. They offer both traditional shared dorm beds and private rooms at a great price, along with free simple breakfast, tea and coffee, a common area with TV and high-speed internet. The best of all, it is located right close to Old Town. Thanks guys! I was really exhausted and realized I'm coming down with a cold. I end up sleeping in for a while, but I love eating and I'm not going to miss out on dinner. So let's check out the cheap eats. You'll find local places slightly outside the main tourist area and away from the main square. I decided to ask where does local eat, and I found this place right here. The price are pretty reasonable. So this is what I have. Tonight I will be having a vegetable soup with bread. $2. I can say it's pretty decent. Also the portion size is pretty good. The rest of food did came. It took longer than I thought. So what I have here is chicken breast and rice. The chicken breast is grilled. I make sure of that because with the current throat situation, I can't have any fried food. So that being said, let's eat. So as you can see, these are separate breasts. They are thin, and my thought was they are pretty much natural, I think, and not farmed. That's why they are smaller. Next morning, I wasted no time. Despite my cold getting worse, I soldier on. First attraction, the historic center in the heart of Brasov, the Council Square. It obtained its right to hold markets in 1520, but it has been a place for weekly and annual markets since 1364. Being visited by merchants from around the country and abroad. The square is surrounded by 18th to 19th century houses, most of which are historical monuments. A pillory in the middle of the square was used as a means for public humiliation, punishment, and scorns. Witches were also punished here. But the head of the shoemaker guild, Stefan Sturt, who opposed the entry of the Austrian army to Brasov, was also beheaded here in 1688. Next, I'm going to get high. Maybe not yet. Once again, I'm going to check the status of the Chinese invasion of Romania with another round of cheap eats for 2-in-1 breakfast and lunch. So on the way to the cable car, I saw this place and it's Chinese food, and boy, I miss Chinese food since I am Chinese, aka. So I came in to see what they have to offer, and also the price is pretty reasonable. This is what you get for 20 li. So what you get is a rice or a noodle. What I take is half and half. And also there's beef and chicken that you can choose from. I chose chicken and 1 beef. Now, I have high standards for Chinese food because I've been eating it all my life. So let's see how Romanian Chinese food holds up. Okay, the beef is good. Chicken. Surprisingly, it does taste like real Chinese food. I approve the beef, I approve the chicken, but not the rice or the noodles. The cable car is only 300 meters from the council square, and the round trip ticket for adult only costs $4. Not so bad. Once you get your ticket, you just have to come upstairs and just line up, wait for your queue, and go into the cable car. However, if you want to be a hero and want a serious experience, you can hike up the Tampa Mountain on foot. It's about an hour in duration each way with a well-marked trails. Tampa Mountain is a part of Brasov Monastery and almost entirely surrounded by the city of Brasov. Most of the mountain is declared a nature reserve due to the rare animal species of bears, birds, 35% of Romanian butterfly species, and plant species, including a rare liver leaf variety, Transylvanian windgrass, that are found here. So this is a viewing post, which you can come and see. It's right beside the Balea sign. Now getting up is actually really easy because you can take a cable car, or in the summertime you can actually hike up. But coming along the way on this route is a little bit challenging during the rainy season or winter. So just keep in mind, wear something comfortable, and also watch your steps, because if you slip and fall, there's no hospitals up here. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the magnificent view. This is where you can find a spectacular view of Brasov. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this magnificent view. Brasov is home to many beautiful churches, too many to mention here. So let's briefly go over some of these where you can continue to confess your sin. First, the Black Church, right across from the Council Square. It was built by the German community and stands out as a main Gothic style monument in the country, as well being the largest and one of the most important Lutheran evangelical church place of worship in Romania. The originally Roman Catholic structure was known as the Church of St. Mary's, replacing an older building used for the same purpose. Construction began during the late 14th centuries at an unknown date, and employing Bulgarian workers and craftsmen who proceeded to establish a Brasov Bulgarian colony. According to a popular legend, a German child was disturbing the Bulgarian builders, or told them that the wall was leaning. In knowing Bulgarian pushed the child off the church tower and was immured his corpse in the church to conceal his crime. Ooh, scary. With a quick walk is the site of St. Nicholas Church, established in 1292. Starting in 1495, the church was rebuilt in stones by the locals with the help from my great uncle. Just joking. But with the help from the ruler Muntena va Calagru. The monarch of the time also played a major role in adoring and expanding the church by offering money, gold, and silver objects, icons, and ceremonial objects. Even the Home Depot donated. Okay, maybe not. But the Russian Empress Elizabeth Provona also donated to the church. Before you get church fatigue, you got to check out this church. It's about 20 kilometers away and accessible by public bus. Founded by the Germanic Teutonic Knights in 1211, and it was eventually taken over by Transylvanian Saxon community. Initially a Roman Catholic church, it became a Lutheran following the Reformation. Together with the surrounding village, the church formed part of a village with fortified walls. In 1999, it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Next morning, we are going on a day trip to see somewhere truly dark and bloody. No kidding. But first, we need to take the public bus to the bus terminal number 2. From there, it's about 30 minutes drive to Bran. The city of Bran lies 30 kilometers away from Brasov and consists of 5 villages. After a kingdom of Hungary was defeated by Ottoman Empire, Bran became part of Principality of Transylvania during the 16th centuries and eventually passed the Habsburg monarchy of Austria. The commune became part of Austrian Empire in 1804 and Austrian-Hungarian Empire in 1867. It was added to the Kingdom of Romania following the World War I. Today is home to one of Romania's most popular tourist attractions and national landmark, the medieval Bran Castle, which was once besieged by the Vlad the Impaler, partially because it resembled the home of Dracula. By the way, bring your student card. You get a big discount on admission here. But if you need some fuel to begin this adventure and support the local economy, then try out some traditional local street food. Pastrama, one of the most popular meat dishes made from lamb and also pork and mutton. Originally created as a way to preserve meat before the modern refrigeration, the raw meat is grilled, partially dry, seasoned with various herbs and spices, and then smoked and steamed. There's also a variety of soup sold here. Most famous is kolba. The traditional bean soup with smoked ham hock. By the way, don't eat too much. You'll see why later. Also, I have no objections if you want to pick up some souvenirs, but make sure to bargain, and bargain hard. Commonly known outside of Romania as Dracula's Castle, linked to its legend. The first documented mention of Bran Castle is an act issued by Louis I of Hungary on 19th of November 1377, giving the modern Brasov the privilege to build the stone castle on their own expense and labor force. The settlement of Bran began to develop nearby. In 1438 to 1442, the castle was used as defense against the Ottoman Empire and later became a custom post on the mountain pass between Transylvania and Waterfall. By the way, did I tell you not to eat too much? Oh yeah, you got the idea. Although many castles of the time belonged to a member of nobility, it has been established that Bran Castle was built almost exclusively for the fortification and protection of German colonists in Transylvania. At some point, Bran Castle belongs to Hungarian kings, but due to the failure of King Vladislav II, who ruled between 1471 to 1516 to repay the loans, the city of Brasov regained the possession of the fortress in 1533. Bran plays a military strategic role up to the mid-18th century. Now, Bran Castle's nickname is actually Dracula's Castle because of the legend that was linked here. Initially in 1212, when it was first built, it was made out of wooden structure, and shortly after, in 1242, it was destroyed by Mongols. And in the 1920s, part of the agreement when Transylvania was seized by Hungary, this was converted into a loyal residence for the Kingdom of Romania. With the 1920 Treaty of Trianon, Hungary lost Transylvania and the castle became a loyal residence within the Kingdom of Romania after it being donated to the loyal household by the Saxons of Kurt Brasov, who had no more interest for it and no interest in financing the time-damaged property. It became the favorite home and the retreat of Queen Marie, who ordered its extensive renovation. The castle was inherited by her daughter Princess Ileana, who ran a hospital there in World War II. It was later seized by the communist regime with the expulsion of the royal family in 1948. The castle today is being turned into a museum dedicated to collections of art and furniture by Queen Maria. In 2005, the Romanian government passed a special law allowing restitution claims on the property illegally expropriated, such as Bran, and thus, a year later, the castle was awarded to the ownership of American Dominic von Habsburg, the son and the heir to Princess Ileana. In 2006, after a period of legal proceedings, the castle was legally returned to the heir of Habsburg family. Now there's a lot of small doors and you always have to watch out for your head. And I am very serious. I think I'll do bend down like this. Yes. Alright. On 1st of June 2009, the Habsburg opened the refurbished castle to the public as the first private museum of the country and presented in collaboration with Bran Village a joint strategic concept to maintain their prominent role in the Romanian tourist circuit and to safeguard the economic base in the region. That third Dracula, known as Vlad the Impaler, was a ruler of Wachula on off between 1448 to 1476. Other than being known as the inspiration for Bram Stoker's titular character in the novel Dracula, Vlad III is known for committing brutal acts of war. Yikes. During his reign, he was under constant threat of attack from both Ottomans and the Hungarian forces. During the infamous retreat from the Ottoman forces, that third had the body of his enemies and citizens alike impaled on a large spike in the fields surrounding his country. Not only his fondness for impaling his victims earned him the nickname Vlad the Impaler, it also ensured his survival during the retreat. As the Ottoman forces returned, seeing the grisly scene of that third had prepared for that's seriously sickening and inhumane. I do have to say the cost of admission is pretty expensive. But if you don't want to pay for the ticket, you can always come down at the base of the castle and enjoy the view from here. It's actually really nice. I returned to Brasov in the later afternoon, and with so many pretty ladies out and about, I am not ready to head straight home yet. So I scrolled down the street looking for a date. Although I didn't succeed, I was proud of the fact that I did not gain any weight and still able to walk down one of the narrowest streets in Europe, the Road Street. But my time has come to end here, and next morning I took a taxi to Brasov train station to board a train to Sibiu. And no, the ticket office is closed, so you can buy your ticket on board. And if you are lucky enough to board an early train and the ticket inspector is asleep and don't come to you, congratulations. Your ride is completely free because you just invaded your fare. Wow, welcome to Sibiu. After a nice nap on the train, which is really nice, I'm finally arrived just in time and on schedule. Alright, my bag is now safe and secure in the storage room. They are open until 7 p.m. but if your train leaves really late, don't worry, you can go to the train ticket counter, give them the ticket for your belongings, and they'll go across the storage room, get your bags, and you can be on your way. With that being said, let's head out right now and start our day. Sibiu, initially a Daco-Roman city called Sidonia, and was refounded by the German settler brought here by the King Giza II of Hungary. The city is one of the most important cultural centers of Romania, and was designated as a European capital of culture for the year 2007, and has a population of only 148. Okay, I mean 148,000. After World War I, when Austria-Hungary was dissolved, Sibiu became part of Romania. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is buy a bus ticket to go down to the city. It costs 2 Ls and is right outside the station where the bus waits. But before I venture off, I'm going home to my mother's for a bite. I mean, going to grab cheap eats at a restaurant chain called Super Mama for breakfast. Now, since I need to take my antibiotics, I need to eat something first. So I'm going to start off my day with a big meal. Now, I'm sure you guys know I complain about the high cost of food here in Romania all the time. But I have found a chain of stores that offers pretty inexpensive meals in Romanian standards. So this is what you get. For 15 lei, you get a shawarma, french fries, some salad, as well as a baguette. After filling up, once again, I need to pray for my sin of fair invasion. So, our first stop is to see a Roman Orthodox Archbishop of Sibiu and the Metropolitan of Transylvania, the Holy Trinity Church Cathedral. And oh yes, there's plenty of room to pray since this cathedral is the second largest Orthodox church in Romania. The cathedral began when the Metropolitan Bishop Andrei Saguna asked Emperor Franz Joseph I for permission to send a circular to his diocese requesting that priests and laymen give donations. He sent the letter, and the first donor was the emperor himself, who gave 1,000 gold coins. So their wish came true on 5th of August 1902, the anniversary of Emperor Franz Joseph I. The first foundation stone of the future cathedral was set then as a sign of gratitude for his support in the building of this cathedral. The Orthodox cathedral was built in the Byzantine style after the plan architect Ovidiu Nagy and Comer Joseph from Budapest. It's very similar to St. Sophia Church in Istanbul. The result is a large building with symmetrical compositions and a central plant that's trying to resume the elevation of Byzantine basilica. The exterior is in a red and yellow brick. The spacious nave is bordered by smaller spherical roof and 4 towers, 2 smaller octagon ones and 2 larger ones near the entrance with a square base. The main entrance is through a portico with 3 semicircular doors with a capacity of 2,000 worshippers. The interior of the dome is filled with stained glass windows adorned with round-shaped mosaic showing Jesus and 4 evangelists. Now, you won't be surprised why so many locals have their wedding or want to have a nice memory of baptism of their child here. Sibiu is also considered the prettiest town in Romania and suspended in time and encircled by beautiful architectural buildings. The Grand Square has established itself as Sibiu's old town's most prominent landmark. It houses one of the world's oldest museums with an eclectic mix of cafes, shops, and restaurants. But the most notable structure and one of the city's symbols is the Council Tower. This former fortification tower is a 7-story building from the 13th century that have been successfully rebuilt over the years and always changing the initial architecture. Okay, this is really narrow. Oh boy, that's my morning exercise. Okay. The tower has been given various uses. It was once used as a gate tower, a grain deposit, a fireplace, a prison, and even for a while as a museum of sciences. At the moment, the tower is used for various exhibitions and as well as point of view. From the upper level of the tower, visitors can see the entire city of Sibiu. This structure is actually 800 years old, making it the oldest in the city. That's pretty much everything to see here in Sibiu, but I'm not leaving yet. We are going somewhere spectacular. But first, we need to take a bus to the airport to pick up a rental car. Although all companies offer 24 hours pickup and drop off, many charges extra during the non-office hours. I'll get into that later. Here is a little advice. If you want to save money, learn how to drive manual. Seriously. I'm such a dumbass, I don't know how to do it. I tried. So I'm gonna go with automatic, and which costs about twice as much. So I'm gonna start the car and just go and drive to the famous road that I haven't heard of. Oh, let me stop that one now. Such a great day today, so let's make it even better.
Roundabout. Take the
One of the things I miss about driving back home in the Americas is the fact that there's stop lights everywhere. Over here, there's so many roundabouts. By the way, buckle up. We are heading to a very crazy road, and I am not kidding. If you don't believe it, just check this out. The famous and the crazy Transfăgărășan Road, or DN7C, that's open only 3 months of each year between the month of July to October. Get ready for the famous road. This is what we are looking at. Going for this like spaghettis, like all mashed up spaghettis. The crazy road stretches 90 kilometers to the crossroad between DM1 and Sibiu, between the highest peak in the country, constructed between 1970 and 1974 during the rule of Nicolae as a response to the 1968 invasion of Czechoslovakia by the Soviet Union. The dictator wants to ensure a quick military access across the mountain in case Soviet comes knocking. Built mainly by the military forces, the road had a high financial and human cost. Work was carried out in an alpine climate at elevation of 6,600 feet, using roughly 6 million kilograms of dynamite and employing junior military personnel who were untrained in blasting techniques. Many workers died. Official record states that only 40 soldiers lost their life, but unofficially, estimated by the workers put the number in hundreds. Oh guys, please slow down. There's a lot of sharp turns and trust me, there's no hospital around. But at least we have survived our 90 kilometers and an hour and a half long journey to the base of Balea Lake. As we are getting more into the tourist territories, it's a good idea to fuel up here. How about a traditional Romanian pastry called lengoli? It's basically a fried dough and topped with sweet feta cheese. So basically my throat is still recovering, and over here a bottle of water is 5 lei, which is a lot more, but not bad for the quantity I'm getting. Over here is actually the Balea district, and over there it says Cascada. Balea, it means like waterfall. With that being said, let's go and check out, let's continue our path and see how it goes. But I didn't get too far. I mentioned before that most of the road is open 3 months of the year. It looked like we hit a roadblock, and I really mean a roadblock. Apparently, one of the folks down there at the souvenir shop said this road is only open from July to October, so we can't go in. Also for the waterfall, unfortunately, it's a little bit too dangerous and slippery. So right now, the only option is to visit Lake Balea, which means we have to pay to go up by cable car. Since we're already here, let's just do it. I don't think I'll be back anytime soon. Well, given it's winter, you can't hike up unless you really want to experience slip and fall. Especially if you're not smart enough to wear proper snow boots. However, in the summer, it's totally doable since there's a medium difficulty trail with the blue triangle marks. It takes about 3 hours each way to get up the mountain. Or, the easy way, just drive up. If you're stupid enough to come in the winter, get ready to pay up. The cable car is not cheap, it's the only way. So basically the office down here in the wintertime is closed, so you pay when you get up to the mountain. It's a really fast ride actually. I just don't know why the heck it costs so much. It's probably the most expensive ride ever. Alright, so as you can see, this is all covered over with ice. There's no lake, and the best time is summertime, please guys. It's also hard on my eye because I don't wear sunglasses. With that being said, let's continue to look around. not so fast. Let's check out this place during the summertime. It's totally a different story and a totally different sceneries. So for the next few moments, please enjoy the spectacular and the magnificent, breathtaking scenery of Balea Lake in the summer. That is. Okay, that's enough. Let me show you the cold contrast. One of the major attractions here in the winter is the hot women. Okay, just joking. Actually, it's famous for the ice hotel. Basically, they build it every single season, and then they melt it away, and then they start all over again in the new year. And everything's here made out of ice, but bricks of ice, as you can see on the wall. And it's kind of pretty impressive. Seriously, I don't know how you can stay warm sleeping on a piece of ice. I better make sure they guarantee that I don't melt my bed during the passionate, hot lovemaking with my new Romanian wife. Actually, I don't have one. So, but more importantly, how not to get electrocuted by the outlets. There is quite a large selection of winter activities here, but given it's touristy, everything is expensive and out of reach for me. And nothing, I mean absolutely nothing is free except praying under the cross. So I've been waiting here for over half an hour now, and it seems like it's not really moving that well. I think there's only one car up, one car down. Oh yeah, did I forget to tell you to eat at the base of the mountain? If not, I'm sorry, my friend. Since I got a train to catch tonight, it's time for me to head back to Sibiu. But I can't resist draining my drone batteries. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the spectacular scenery of rural Romania. After returning my car to Sibiu airport, I realized I got a bit of time to kill. I'm super hungry. Well, I guess I need to pay another visit to my mom. I came back to another one of the super mamas restaurant because I want to see what else they have to offer. And tonight I'm having Szechuan chicken with rice. And I think it looks pretty decent. So let's see how good their Szechuan chicken is. Surprisingly, it's pretty good. It's spicy. That's actually pretty decent. I'm pretty impressed. With that being said, I'm gonna continue eating. Okay, I'm sorry I lied. I shouldn't do that because I don't want this bridge to crumble. Boys and girls, this is the Bridge of Lies. Now this is the Bridge of Lies or Bridge of Liars, and it's Romania's first iron-casted bridge. And it's built in 1859. The famous legend said that this bridge have years and unexplained powers, so that at every lie it began to crack, and when there is a lot of buildup of lies, it will collapse. For this reason, most locals avoid saying untrue things on this bridge. Now after a really exhausting day, it's time to head back to the train station, and thank goodness there's a minibus that will take you there. So basically, as you can see, when I first walked into this wagon, it's pretty chaotic. It's all full, and my seat is number 56. It took some time to find it, but finally made it in. And let me show you what's... Well, it's like 3-hour ride. I hope I survive through this. There's a girl who just passed out right beside me, as you can see.
Well.
So there was about an hour and a half delay because there was a train in front of us that has got into trouble. But it's a good timing because I got a little bit more time to relax and sleep. And I'm actually fully awake.
I said it, but I believe
Hey, so welcome. Oh, finally here. So I'm gonna go directly to the airport to pick up my car. Located in the Sinaia River Valley, Cluj Napoca is the fourth most populous city in Romania and considered the unofficial capital to the historical province of Transylvania. The city traces its origin back to Dacan settlement of Napoca in the 2nd century AD. After the Roman takeover of Daca, it was renamed Napoca in 124 AD. The city quickly advanced socially and economically, and during the Marcus Aurelius' reign, Napoca received the title Colonia, the highest possible urban status in the Roman Empire. Cluj Napoca's name Cluj comes from Caelus Claudius, first used in the 12th century as the name of the citadel surrounding the city. Cluj means close in Latin and refers to the hill that's surrounding the city. I arrived really early, but thank goodness Cluj Napoca has a really great public transportation system that operates from 5:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. weekdays and begins 6 a.m. in the weekends, but not the shady car rental agencies. So please let me do some venting. I booked this car on Expedia, and it's supposed to be 24-hour pickups and drop-off, but guess what? When I show up, apparently it's the off hours. Because it's off hours, you are being charged $27.50 US for each pickup and each drop-off. They also try to do upsell and forcing me to call back to my home country to get my insurance to verify the fact that my collision and car rentals also cover Romania. So, let me recap. Make sure you check their regular office hours or any fees to pick up the car at alternative time. Secondly, make sure to have a copy of a letter from your credit card company stating that you have collision and damage insurance coverage. I was lucky enough to have my bank to send them my email in order to avoid the $15 a day extra fees. What a ripoff. But life goes on. Let's try to enjoy this 2.5-hour drive to the Bucegi Mountain. So, let me tell you, don't trust the GPS 100%. It took me to some of the most dangerous icy roads that could slip into the lake, and so I trust the locals, I guess, that direct me to the route that can't be found on GPS, which is keep going on road number 1R and until you hit Outback and make a turn. Another thing about driving here is just look at this. Make sure you clear these and be careful. So I asked again and again, and my god, this is really confusing. I don't know if I can recommend people coming here since there's no public transportation to get here. After driving around for 4 hours and almost ran out of petrol, I stopped at a small resort town Outback to ask for directions. But my problem, no speak Romanian, my friend. Also, the tourist office and police station is both closed. So the only thing I can do is press on by following the signs and the donkeys. I had to stop again and ask for directions, hoping somebody should speak English. I did, and here's what happened. The cave, they said, the street coming that way, so we passed it. This is so frustrating, so frustrating. Okay, let's just go. The road is not only dangerously slippery, but now blocked by a bunch of logs. Finally, after 5 hours, we are here. Wow. Almost. Like, I don't know how much longer It's a walk, but I'm just ready to quit. I don't know how much more I can take. After trekking for half a kilometer, this is what I got. So after all this effort, it's closed and it's supposed to be open for another hour. It's crazy. And I mean, honestly, like this is really ridiculous. Finally, after a bit of wait, I finally get to enter, and once again, I am not too happy about the slippery steps. Oh my god, that's big. Okay, thank you. Now this makes me really nervous. You see all the ice, and then also the rail has ice on them. Let's give a few steps and see what happens. The Scarisoara Cave is one of the ice caves in Bucegi Mountain in part of Carpathian chain. The cave is located in altitude approximately 1,100 meters above the sea level and considered a show cave and one of the natural wonders of Romania. It has been described as the largest underground glacier cave in Europe and second largest in the world with a volume of 80,000 cubic meters. The temperature in the cave is 0 degrees Celsius and it is recommended you have a warm clothing even if you visit during the summer. Now I know there's like seasonal differences, but I mean on the internet, I mean this is what it looked like and should look like. And behind me is what you actually get when you come during the winter time. Anyways, I have enough. I'm just gonna go up, head back home. I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed, but life goes on until this happens. I move back. So to reposition myself. I got stuck in a snowbank after I hit it when I tried to back down. There's absolutely no passerby for more than an hour. It was then I realized the road is actually closed without any sign. With the night setting in, the temperature dropping, I basically stopped filming and even tried to dig the snow out with my bare hands from the side of the tire. Nothing worked. So for the first time ever in filming on my show, I'm going to call for a rescue.
Alright. I'm still waiting for my rescue. It's about half an hour in.
Someone will contact you. Please hang on. Please turn off your phone now.
You call me, I open the light, okay?
Exactly.
After getting my GPS coordinates, I called the emergency number in Romania, 112, and being transferred to a correct police jurisdiction. I was finally told the rescue team is on its way. To save power on my phone, I didn't use it. After 3 hours in, I was finally relieved when I saw the light appear at the end of the tunnel. Whoa. To say thank you so much. So they can direct me to a petrol station right now, so finally I get to go home. While being dark and with untrustworthy GPS, my experience is very incomplete without a police escort to the local town. I got to say thank you to all these rescuers. They are extremely professional and courteous. Despite my poor luck, I was able to experience amazing warm hospitality of the Romanian people. Thank you, everyone. The police is escorting me to another town with a safer route and a 3G internet access. When I finally got back to the hostel, my host was freaked out and thought I was kidnapped. By the way, I stayed at the Spot Cozy Hostel located only 15 minutes by foot from the Cluj Napoca city center. They offer both dorm beds and private rooms at a great price, as well as free tea and coffee, high-speed internet, towels, lockers, as well as on-site laundry for a small fee. The best of all, the owner is pretty cool. Next morning, I'm determined to go deep down under rather than being down. So let's have a great day by driving to a nearby city of Turda. The city has a great importance in the history of Transylvania because here, for the first time in Christian Europe, it was declared in 1568 that it is district of religious freedom, the religious tolerance, and more importantly, the district for Transylvanian identity. There is frequent minibus from Cluj Napoca, and you can get off at the last stop and walk 3 kilometers by following the sign for Turda salt mine. So I'm inside the mine right now. It's really nice in the fact that it's underground, and what the PR person told us is he even have a Ferris wheel. So I'm really excited. And look at this. Look at this. Okay, here I go. The salt was first extracted here during the antiquities, and the mine continuously produced table salt from the Middle Ages. The mine was first mentioned in 1075 to the early 20th century and ended in 1932. The first document that speaks explicitly about the existence of salt mine Turda dates from 1st of May 1271, being issued by the Hungarian Chancery. Document preserved from the 13th and the 14th century that refer to Turda salt mine mentions a Sărălin were arranged in Bel Sărate, micro depression, and on the southeastern slope of Vera Sărata. The deposit here is around 16 million years ago, and in this region it has been extracting salts for about 2,000 years. And this complex right here, the oldest chamber, is actually started around 1690. There is multiple mines. The most grand and symbolic is Randolph, the last place where the salt was exploited in Turda. The panoramic elevator offers tourists an overview of the whole mine. On the wall of each of the 13 floors is marked the year when the respective level was exploited. On the northwestern ceiling, there are salt stalactites formed over the years. Some of them are even 3 meters long. There is no shortage of fun here, including a mini golf with 6 tracks and clubs for adults and children, 2 tracks mini bowling, as well as billiard tables and table tennis. Yay! There's even an amphitheater with 180 heated seats for conference and concerts, but this is my favorite. Alright, so this is as crazy as it gets. Underground ferry wheel inside the salt mine. So this is actually only costs 5 leads, and it's only 8 minutes long, so I'm sure you can spare the time. I'm pretty excited to go all the way up there. Fingers crossed. Honestly, this is one of the rare occasions where I can sit back and relax. Honestly, this is a little bit crazy, but they have an underground water amusement area. That's something I've never seen before. The most fascinating mine is Transfăgărășan, a bell mine and consists of a cascade of salt with an underground lake. The lake is between half and 8 meters deep and extended on 80% of the operating room hearth area. In the center of the lake, there is an island formed from the residual salt deposit here after 1880, the year when the salt mine ended in this room. This is the type of room where halotherapy patients spend its time. A therapy involves spending regular time in salt mines and caves, breathing in salt vapors, in which according to many has been practiced from the 12th century for treating those with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and for detoxification. Now, among all the years I've been traveling, I got to know I've never seen anything like this. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, inside a salt mine, and down here is like a lake. It's crazy, absolutely madness, and they really know what they are doing and turn this place into a tourist hotspot. Another mine being Isif, which can be seen through the balconies. This mine is conical chamber with 112 meters deep and 67 meters wide at the base. This large hollow chamber allows the mine to have a powerful echo, leading it to be called the Echo Room. Now, this room is actually the echo chamber room, and as you can see, when you scream into it, it echoes back 16 times. Okay, for those of you who couldn't listen carefully, yeah, okay, that wasn't me, but here, this is me. Can you hear me? Now that is a lot of fun. That would definitely get me some attentions and more views on YouTube. Now my best guess is this is probably a museum dedicated to the tools they use in the salt mines. Another one of the major attractions is Kavak Room, and hosts a wrench called Kavak or Japel, a rudimentary machine used to lift the salt rocks onto the surface. It dates from 1881. This machine replaced another, smaller in size, that was installed in 1864. It is the only machine of its kind in all salt mines in Romania, and probably in Europe that keeps it in its original location. Since this salt mine is no longer in operation, I guess they aren't hiring accountants like me. I guess before looking for another job, I'm going to check out a nature reserve about 11 kilometers away, the Dorta Gorge. However, if you're not driving, you need to take a taxi, sadly. The nature reserve is famous for its canyon formed through the erosion of Jurassic limestone of the mountain. With it being 2,000 meters and the wall reaches a height of 300 meters, it makes one of the major rock climbing sites in Romania. This gorge contains one of the richest and the most scenic karst landscape in Romania. More than 1,000 plants and animal species, including some being rare or endangered, like the wild garlic, or some species of eagles, as well as 67 species of birds, butterfly, fish, and amphibians, and some mammals like fox, weasel, martins, and wild boars. I drove back to Cluj Napoca to return my car. It was getting late, but I'm not ready to go home just yet. At least I have to check out two of their main squares. First being the Union Square, the largest and the most important in the city. So this is the main square of Cluj Napoca, and behind me is the St. Michael's Church. The square is one of the largest in Romania with a dimension of 220 meters by 160 meters. The square is originally called Nepepieg in Hungarian, meaning the big market square, and today, statue of King of Hungary, Mihai Copilul still remains. The St. Michael's Church in the background is the second largest Gothic-style church in Transylvania and Romania. It has the highest church tower in the country. The church sat on the ground that previous time belonged to St. Jacob's Chapel and a cemetery. The construction of the church began in 1316 during the reign of King Carol Robert Ajul and completed in 1487. In this period, the locals from Cluj Napoca have the freedom of their choosing their own priests. Hence, a construction for a new worship was conceived. Funding for the church primarily comes from the citizens of Cluj. The locals were told that donating money for the creation of the church would serve as indulgence, a way to decrease the punishment one has to undertake for their sins. The church is famous for being the location of the King of Hungary and Croatia from 1458 to 1490. Matthias Copilul was baptized. Right across and along the 7-year-old street is the Museum Square, or nicknamed the Smaller Square. The center of the square is dominated by Carolina Obliques, the 10-meter statue that's dedicated to 1817 visit of Emperor Francis I and his wife. Facing the square is the first place of worship, medieval Cluj Napoca, the Franciscan Monastery, erected around 1260 until 1290 in the place of a pagan temple. The church is a burial place for many prominent Hungarian aristocrats. Cluj's major attraction is pretty compact and easily accessible on foot. But given I am exhausted and tired, I decided to take the tram back to the hostel. The tickets are available using cash or credit cards. Did you remember I mentioned that my hostel owner is pretty cool? Well, after hearing about my mishap, he offered to show me around some cool places. I agreed to leave the driving to him. But our first attraction is pretty close by, the Ethnographic Museum of Transylvania. No driving necessary.
With a sheep.
The Transylvania Museum of Ethnography was founded in June 16, 1922 and has 2 exhibition sections, one of which is to be found in downtown Rotunda Palace, while the other exhibition is in the open-air Rotunda Via Park, situated in the city's northwest side, in the Whole of Forest. This is where we are. I like outdoors. So this is the first ethnographic museum here in Romania. It is open air museum, and basically it features all the different type of structures across Romania. The open-air section of the museum is open to the public on April 12, 1929, which makes it the first open-air museum in Romania. However, the park is closed to the public from beginning of November to end of April. The museum has a collection of more than 50,000 objects reflecting the occupations, the habits, and the life cycles of Transylvania's rural population. And here is some cool examples. This is the coolest washing machine I have ever seen. Okay, so this whole structure, you basically put it by the river, and the water will flow through here, and it will create a very powerful spinning motion that will get your clothing sparkling clean. So it's actually killed 2 birds with 1 stone. So the water continues to flow here. It actually spins the wheels, and then if you take this piece of wood off over here, this device also crushes cereals and processes the wool. $1,000. After fueling up and picking up a quick bite, it's time to take an hour-and-a-half drive to the next attraction to pick up a Romanian bride. Okay, I mean the Bridal Veil Falls in the town of Rechita village. The name of this waterfall is Vivo Verese. It means the bright waterfall, and the reason it looks like the bride's cover. Now, this waterfall is famous for one reason. This area, the whole wall, in January and February, is covered all in ice. That's when a very interesting and famous ice climbing contest takes place. There is a legend saying that the name of the waterfall comes from a tragic accident of a bride on her wedding day who fell right off the cliff of the mountain. Its veil remaining hooked. It is said that the wedding guests stopped the party and cried for the bride, and in that very spot came the life to a waterfall. Bridal Veil. Our next stop is about 40 minutes drive away to Guliani Mountain, the next attraction. So this is Lake Peles. It's actually a man-made lake that serves as a reservoir to collect water from the mountains, nearby streams and lakes to provide water for the nearby towns and cities. It's pretty beautiful. The 9.8 square kilometer reservoir was built along the shore of the resort Peles Castle between the year 1970 and 1974 for the purpose of hydropower along the Super Cloud. During the construction of the dam, the inhabitants of the old village had to move on to a current village due to the fact that water overflowed the former settlement, which is only visible on a hot day of the summer when the level of the water is very low.
Let's be right there. That's close.
One of the low points of my visit in Romania is a heartbreaking journey to Rosia, Montana, a commune in Alba County. This is a mineral-rich area which have been exploited since before the Roman times. The previous state-run gold mine closed in the late 2006 in advance of Romania's accession to the EU. However, the Gabriel Resources of Canada planned to open a new controversial open-pit gold mine. The proposed gold cyanidation mining technique that many will feel will require a usage of a large area, including 4 mountains that would, in according to opponents, will be turned into a desert, and fear of spillage into the river and contaminate the groundwater. The opponent fear that it will repeat the forced eviction of the village of Gimana, which is today submerged by a toxic lake from the nearby mining pit. In 1977, the communist dictator Nicholas Khrushchev decided to exploit the rich underground copper deposit in the nearby Rosia Punani, which remained the largest copper reserve in Romania. Although in its prime days, it produced over 11,000 tons of copper annually, it also created toxic waste that needed to be stored. The result was forced eviction of 400 families. The village was sacrificed to make an artificial arsenic lake for the storage of contaminated sludges containing cyanide. Today, the only remainder of Ginana is the iconic church spires which serve as a reminder of the remnant of this former quiet village and the toxic legacy that destroyed it. Even though Rosia, Montana had been mined for more than 2,000 years, it still contained the largest undeveloped gold deposit in Europe. The opponents are concerned the company's request to the area will also destroy many of the archaeological sites, including one of the world's largest and the most important intact ancient Roman mine tunnels. Actually watch our head because Romans are not that tall back then. In 2017, the Romanian government applied to list Rosia, Montana as a World Heritage Site, a prestigious designation administered by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization that will bring international acclaim and special legal protection that will end any prospect of mining. It will also provide a draw for tourism to this impoverished area. However, in a nearly unprecedented move at the annual World Heritage Committee 2018 meeting in Bahrain, the new government postponed a vote on the application for Rosia, Montana. The tunnel is now part of Rosia, Montana Gold Mining Museum. However, due to political sensitivity, visitors and media access are severely restricted. So, for the first time in 2,000 years, we will be the first filming crew to able to get exclusive access to the site to film this treasure in 4K ultra high definition. This mine is actually over 2,000 years old, built by Romans, and everything is actually handmade. A lot of the civilization came here and was really freaked out, really scared by its capacity. This mine not only have gold, but also have other precious minerals such as quartz, silver, zinc, and copper. The mine was constructed by Dalmatian and Illyrian miners who were brought here as a colonists under the reign of the Roman Empire. It is believed that it hides more than 100 kilometers of tunnel dug by the traditional method from antiquity to the modern times. Of those, only 7 kilometers have been researched so far. Of the priceless archaeological artifacts found include a wax tablet dates back to 6th of February 131, with reference to a Roman town and the legal contract between the mine owners and the tenants. The outdoor exhibition near the mine's entrance showcased an imagery of Roman life and settlements, including dwellings, graves, mining tools, and inscriptions in Greek and Latin, confirming that there is an incredible large-scale mining activity at the time.
these are
After driving back to cruise, it was time for me to move on to the final leg of my trip in Romania. I'm super happy that sleepers class actually exists on Romanian trains. So finally, I'm actually going to board this train to go to Timișoara, and I have a sleepers class, and I hope I have a comfortable evening of sleep so I can see you tomorrow nice and fresh. But there's few things. So this is my cabin, and it looks like this is going to be all mine. Well, at least for now. So what you need to do is you need to show the conductors your ticket, and then he will give you your linens. With that being said, let's make our bed, please. In case if you wonder I succeed, here is my very proud announcement. So I made my own bed. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. With that being said, have a good night, and let's get some sleep right now. Good morning, everyone. Just woken up and gonna get dressed. The train will be there in about 10 minutes or so. Timișoara is the third largest city in the country with a population of 340,000 and considered the main social, economical, and cultural center in Western Romania. In September 2016, Timișoara was selected as a European Capital Culture for 2021. The city have a great public transportation system, opening from 5 in the morning to midnight. The downside, you can't buy your ticket on board. You need to go to a newspaper kiosk, and that is how I got to my hostel. Once again, I'd like to take a moment to thank my accommodation sponsor, Exit Routine Hostel. They offer both dorm beds for budget-friendly travelers, as well as twin, double, and triple room for couples and families. Not to mention, clean bathrooms, fast Wi-Fi, free tea, coffee, and a fully stocked kitchen. But most importantly to me, a great location. Thanks, guys. So we're going to start our journey right here at the center of the old town at the Liberty Square. This is actually built in 1734 by the Italian architect Pietro della Bono. Also known as Prince Eugene de Savoia Square, built in the middle of the 18th century. For a known period of time, it was known as Military Square or Parade Square. In 1848, when the Hungarian Revolution began, the square changed its name to Liberty Square. This important square hosts the old building and monuments such as the Army House and the St. Mary's statue. The square is the city's military center, flanked by the Baroque Old Town Hall and Military Club. It also has one of the city's most famous Baroque monuments, the monument to St. John's Nepenthes of 1756 by Viennese sculptor Bran and Wesenberger. On the corner of Dimitri Canterbury Street, there is a spot for remembering the victim of December 1989. Another important square nearby and only 5 minutes on foot is the Union Square. The picturesque Habsburg-era plaza with a site of Roman Catholic and Serbian Orthodox cathedral facing each other. The historic plaster hue buildings line up the square. During the 18th century, this was the city's commercial center and the venue for numerous military possessions and religious ceremonies. The St. George Roman Catholic Cathedral is an early 18th century Baroque architectural style Catholic church. The cathedral is considered to be the most unitary and representative of Baroque buildings, served as a symbolic role of protecting Christianity from Ottoman imperialism. In 1756, the Roman Catholic dome was designated by the Empress Maria Theresa as the first church of the city. Although the St. George's Cathedral is primarily known for its religious significance, it also served many other purposes throughout its history. During the Austro-Turkish War of 1788 to 1790, the cathedral was used as a warehouse for the storage of hundreds of salt bags. When the Waterfall Revolution of 1848 broke out, the church was used as a shelter for 107 days to house devotees from the outside conflict. Timișoara is a city full of parks, and if you need a green place to do some reflection, I got you covered at the nearby Timișoara's Botanical Park. With the 9 acres, this dermatology park has a great variety of tree species. In 1995, it was declared for the first time as a scientific reservation aimed to protect the local and exotic faunas. As you can tell by now, the city is also full of squares. Oh yes, here is another one of them. Finally, this is the Victory Square, and I promise this is the last square I'm going to introduce. Also known as the Opera Square, this central locale features a quad coffee house, shopping street, and exquisite 1920s architecture surrounding the facade. This square has long been a meeting place for locals and artisans. The square's name refers to the successful revolt against Romanian communism in 1989. Timișoara is divided by Balea River and has become the first Romanian city to introduce public transportation on its river. There are 7 designated boats perched by the municipality to carry passengers across to the central part of the city. A single ticket costs only 1 lei. The city is also home to many important and historic bridges, the Isabel Bridge being one of them, as it constitutes a symbolic gateway to the Fabric District. With all the talks of communism in this show, I actually want to experience it. Well, there's a place where you can go back in time. Located underneath a theater bar, the Museum of Communist Consumer has served as a time capsule since 2015. The best of all, it's free, but a little donation won't hurt and definitely will bring you good karma. Now this is a very unique and a free museum that are dedicated to showcasing how life is under communism. And it's a setup of a full apartment with a kitchen with different cutleries that are used during that period, to a bedroom with different magazines and so on. I mean, they literally have everything that are dedicated for people that used during those periods, including ski poles and pens and papers, to everything, to toys. In fact, this is probably my favorite toy. Yay! At the end of 1989, Timișoara became the first city free from the communist regime in Romania. Shortly after, many Romanians began to throw away items that are used in the household during the communist era. It was out with the old and in with the new. As you expect, private initiative was started to preserve the art collection of pre-1989 consumer good manufacturing in Romania, and to serve as a way to learn about the way of living that no longer exists.
We were starting to lose the objects, and we cannot have them back anymore, and we needed a place like this to store them for the public, for the open public to get to see them. And basically the idea came from a need, and some of them were brought by people, some of them were donations, some of them we bought it, and some of them we took it directly from the garbage. Sometimes we recuperated them. And but yeah, the process lasted 5 years, but it's still going on, and people are still bringing new objects, and it's still getting bigger, and we don't have any more place left for to expose them.
The museum is set up as a regular apartment of the Golden Ages, the term the local communist propaganda used to describe the period when Nicolae Ceausescu was the head of the state. As such, it featured a living room, a children's room, a kitchen, a closet, and a bathroom. The visitor can explore armatories, drawers, and shelves to discover all sorts of items that was used in the communist era, ranging from the old TV and radio sets to kitchen amenities, bicycles and toys, school supplies, and many more. Next morning, I woken up early since I want to make the most out of my last day in Romania. So I took the tram back to a railway station for a day trip to the final destination. But I am not going anywhere without experiencing what the ordinary Romanians eat for breakfast. Alright, good morning everyone. I'm waking up early to head to a day trip today. So before I head over, it's for me, I have to eat something. Some meat, and I eat it with mustard. And then most popular is the Romanian sausages called mici, meaning the little one. Consists of grilled ground meat rolled in a cylindrical shape made from a mixture of beef, lamb, and pork with spices such as garlic, black pepper, coriander, savory, and sometimes a touch of paprika. So welcome to Rosia. We just arrived and after 3.5 hours, and I had quite a good nap, and I'm excited to begin our day. The city of Rosia is one of the most important economic, social, and cultural centers in western part of Romania. I think I said that before. Anyways, the city also has a strong industrial center in the region, hosting some of Romania's largest companies. But I'm not here to invest, I'm here to eat. Damn, I'm hungry. Again. This is a traditional Romanian food, pacinta. It's basically a dough stuffed with mashed potatoes, and it costs only 2 lei. Bon appetit, people. It's really good. So try it. After filling up, it's time to get going to our first attraction. I briefly passed by the Cathedral Basilica of St. Mary's, built between 1720 and 1780. It was designed by the Italian architect Giovanni Battista Ricca, but I'm not going yet. I'm pretty sick of churches. We'll check out the nicer ones later. Let's move on. So right now I'm taking the bus number 17 to the Citadel. There's one problem with the bus here is you can't buy the ticket on board, and there's no ticket machines anywhere. So one of the things you can do is you can ask the local if you can buy a ticket off them, which is what I did. With a history of 1,000 years, the Rosia Fortress really allows you to walk back in time. For over 203 years, it was a primary reference point for the prime meridian for the making of maps, which helped make great geographical discoveries. This meridian passed through the fortress. Now, that is cool. First mention of this citadel is actually mentioned in 1241 during the Mongol invasion. The fortress is also a polarizing nucleus for the settlement in the area by concentrating the political, military, administrative, judicial, and religious function within its walls. It constitutes an important religious center after the canonization in 1192 of the founder of the Aurelia diocese, Saint Stavropoleos Moastery, becoming the 13th and the 14th century a pilgrimage spot on par with any others in Europe. Throughout its history, the fortress served as a residence for the Roman Catholic Diocese of Aurelia, as well as strictly military fortress governed by the very successive administrations.
Show.
Medieval show.
Yes, I don't know if you have seen that.
Within the fortress is home to a local association of Divas Vault, a secretive order of the church at the end of 12th century, and its member is dedicated to fighting supernatural evils that will otherwise corrupt God's divine plan for humanity. From hunting ghouls and werewolves in the forests of Holy Roman Empire, from tracking down diabolic cults in Gaul to requesting across the Holy Land for powerful relics that may save humanity, its members have certainly plenty to do. I'm pretty lucky to get a first-hand look at all their fighting skills. The fabric used in the costume are painstakingly done in an old-fashioned way with a traditional wooden loom. Seeing how hard the old ladies work, I decided to give her a helping hand. I'll try not to screw it up. Put this on this side. Now I push forward. And this, and now I put the left one up. Put this on the back. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm getting faster. Oh, I think I got a job right here. Oh my goodness.
No.
One of the last churches I visited in Romania is a Greek Catholic Cathedral of St. Nicholas. The church follows a Romanian rite and is in full communion with the Pope in Rome. Its construction began in 1800s with a Greek Catholic Bishop Achilles Bratha asked to demolish a small Greek Catholic church in the city and begun the construction of the cathedral. Actually, I'm going to slack off and give the mic to our father.
The church has been built between 1778 and 1806. It was a bishop named Ignatie de Răban who died in 1805.
The construction plan calls for a cross-shaped design, validated ceiling and a central dome painted with biblical scenes. Sadly, in 1948, the church lost its status as a cathedral and reduced to a simple parish church. But the Greek Catholic Romanian still plays a large role in the local society and also actively outside the churches.
Who built a school for the Romanians in Beiuș, a small town 60 kilometers from here. It was the second school built by the Greek Catholic Church.
I also found out a reason to cut the carbohydrates in form of bread. I wasn't aware they are very holy. But before leaving, I was shown a sacred artifact and how I can become Jesus as well. The main square is St. Lala's Square, with the current name of Union Square after the two world wars. In 1924, in the center of the square was a statue of King Ferdinand I, the founder of Greater Romania. It was later replaced with Mihail Velestel, one of Romania's greatest national heroes, and he is seen by historians as the first author of Romanian unity. Surrounding the square are historical architectures like the town hall and some of the most important churches. The most notable is the Moon Church, located at the southeast corner of the square. Construction began at this church started in November 1784 when Transylvania was troubled by one of the most powerful peasant movements. However, it wasn't until 1790 when the wall was erected, and November of that same year when the first mass was held. The consecration of the church took place much later, more than 4 decades later, in 1832, when the interior painting was also finalized. Adjacent to the church is the home to Aradia's Town Hall, also home to its Tourist Information Center created in 1989, one of the first created in the fall of communism. This historical building was built between 1902 to 1903 in the place of an old Roman Catholic church. Its clock tower is considered the most visible landmark in the city, and you can conquer it for only 5 li. Let's burn some calories, shall we? So this is quite an exercise actually. And it's pretty narrow steps, so just be careful. In the first level is a horologe mechanism called the Mother Clock. The clock plays at fixed hours, the March Outland Chew, and it was built in the early 20th centuries. The climb. In the second level consists of an observation deck with a panoramic view from the 34 meters high. Starting in 1904, this is where the civil servant watch out for fires, announcing danger by beating the bell according to the area where the fire is started. During the daytime, a red flag is pointed toward the direction in where the fire is broke out. At night, an electric reflector is lit. Now, as much as I like this view, I'm gonna go up there because I pay for this. As you can see, there's another observation deck here. It's not the highest, but let's go and check it out. View actually just kept getting better. I mean, seriously, really, check this out. On this level, the balconies are mounted with more giant functional hammers that beats 3 times every 15 minutes. For what reason? I don't know. They like bells? We are at the top, yay! Check this out. So this is what you get for 5 lei, the magnificent, breathtaking panoramic view of the city. In case you need a closer look, there is coin-operated binoculars, but keep in mind there's 5-person limit on the top. Be nice and be patient in the summer busy months. I'm hearing some music right now. Not sure what that is, but I'm gonna go down. Oh, just a warning. There is a good chance the bell might ring while you are trying to escape the tower. Maybe it's a good idea to bring a earplug. Alright. In the 1940s, Aradia was home to a population of 90,000 with a large and vibrant Jewish community of 30,000. However, the city's Jews suffered terribly during the years of Second World War. Men were taken for slave labor in Hungarian labor services, where many of them died. Children were barred from schools. Families were stripped of their possessions. In the spring of 1944, 2 ghettos was established not far from the city center by the main Nazi specialists. After the war under a communist regime imposed in 1945, there were new hardships. Romania grew increasingly intolerant of Jewish independence. Newly formed Zionist organizations were liquidated. Their leaders were often arrested and imprisoned. Today, majority of Jewish population have immigrated, but small communities still remains. One of the landmarks that Jews left behind is massive neo-log synagogue Zion, built in 1878. But unfortunately, even though the building had been well preserved, it is not functioning. The weather was not kind to me, so I decided to pay a visit to the one last landmark, the mighty Aurelia State Theater, also known as Queen Mary Theater. Designed in the 1900s by the Ferdinand Fiedler and the Hermann Herner, the architect also responsible for the famous Vienna Opera House. This neoclassic and neo-Renaissance icon is among the city's most important heritage buildings. Built in the early 20th century, the theater offered a range of performance from Puccini to puppetry. It was getting late, and it's time to also say goodbye to the last attraction in Romania by returning back to the train station. With some time to kill, I have one unanswered question since the beginning of my journey. With so many beautiful women here, am I ever going to be lucky enough to marry a Romanian bride? An interesting thing about this train station is you can get your palm read. Here. I think I have second thought about that with that kind of creepy noise coming out. So as you can see, this train is pretty much fully packed and there's people standing. The reason is some of the trains do not have assigned seats. So if you are traveling on one of those trains, make sure you get in fast or else you'll be standing for the next 3 hours and 50 minutes. Oh, it is not fun. Timișoara is well connected to other European cities by air, such as Berlin, Rome, Paris, and scheduled train service to Budapest and Vienna. But I took a door-to-door shuttle minibus to Belgrade, and this is how I ended my magnificent journey of Romania. Romania is a country of great natural beauties and diversity, but also possesses a rich cultural heritage. This nation enchants visitors with scenic mountains and unspoiled rural landscape, but also with its historic cities and urban capital. However, my favorite is the experience of warm hospitality of its people, the courage it took to overthrow its heavy-handed communist dictator, and how the society bravely faced the challenge as it transitioned to democracy. Despite Romania being one of the poorest countries in the European Union, it's rich in tradition, in the area of sport, the food, the language, the literature, and most importantly, rich in having a beautiful soul, spirit, and being the heartbeat of Europe. Thank you for watching and la vedere.